hopefully I can cut it down. I want to keep them at 15 minutes because my Flat Earth Homeland channel still, even though I verified it, it's verified, they still won't let me upload longer than 15 minutes, which is just a absurdity, but deal with it. So Speaker for the Living, and to pronounce blessings, like numbers. May Yahweh bless you and keep you, make his face to shine upon you, give you peace. And that's a benediction, a blessing, a good speaking. So I pronounce and speak into existence the things that need to happen for people to be able to get here. For Lisa, for transportation, for money, for a decent vehicle, a trader, for help. I've told people that said, hey, she needs help moving. She would be an absolute awesome blessing to any community. And it's irritating that people that live here, that's another thing I'm going to be dealing with, people that live here already in the Ozark Plateau are far too wrapped up in their own little shtick, their own little niche, their own little corner of the world, their own little us for no more situation, and they're not reaching out to people, and they could be far, far more extensively than they are, and it wouldn't cost them anything but some time. So that is a issue that I mean to address. So, okay. So speaking blessings over people that are out there and wishing to move here, I do that. Judy, may you get everything you need to be able to come here. People that are in the process of selling their houses, Nadia, or RNN. Blessings on your, capability of selling your house, and Rhonda, blessings. Yep. House sale, quick. Get what you need for it, and get some land up here. Come up and visit. Just everybody and anybody and everybody that needs help either moving. And I made an announcement on the last video about Ephraim's Rescue, Operation Ephraim's Rescue. I've absolutely fully intend on, that happening. It will happen. It is happening. So I wanted to point out that when we moved to Missouri, we got here because of the foresight and vision of one man, Kent Andre, and he was just a wonderful leader, tactical, strategic, visionary, and he brought my family here, helped us move here. So for the first year, we lived in a house that his son had built, a cob house, 3-foot thick walls. I've talked about this before, written about it a few times. My son and I had been in Kansas going to expos, and we had stayed at this one couple's house who, if you have ever been to a Cracker Barrel and years ago seen jars of beautiful relishes, pickles and whatnot from the Pickle Cottage, we stayed at their house a few times. And that last time we were there, this Shirley put her hand out toward my head and said, you will not be living in that schoolhouse. In the end times, you will be living closer to the earth than you ever thought possible. And what flashed through my mind in a half a second was, I got 2 teepees, and if it comes down to staying free and living out, we're going to live out in the woods, and that's living pretty darn close to the earth. And if I was living any closer to the earth, I would have to be living inside the earth. Literally, like poof. A couple months later, a couple weeks later, I don't remember the timing, but shortly thereafter, I'm standing in this cob house, living in this cob house with an earth floor, 3-foot thick earth walls, and an earth roof. I kid you not. So things happen when you do what you know is the right thing to do. So that was amazing, and the things like that have happened many times, repeatedly. I mean, what you call synchronicities, universal synchronicities, providence, whatever, divine providence, sovereignty of God. I think they're all terms for a similar type of, similar description of the same thing. So, as I was writing, just one example, as I was jotting notes madly the weekend that the book came together in my mind, I was taking notes on a little scrap pad. I may never see it again. I hope to someday see it. And I woke up one morning and I was like, oh man, someday there's not going to be all the transportation we have. And I wrote down family transportation. I wrote down Amish buggy. And I thought, there's got to be public transportation. I wrote down stagecoach. And then I was like, oh, we're going to have to be able to haul freight. I wrote Teamster wagon. Well, about an hour or two later, I was outside, and I go out to the barn, big, huge barn, and I open the door, and in order is an Amish buggy, a stagecoach, and a Teamster wagon. Real, honest to God, I mean, the real deal. People were wealthy, and they just happened to be there. Well, I just happened to write it down that in the order that they just happened to be in there. Yeah, synchronicity. So, don't be afraid of destiny or paradise. Your path is right. I'll walk with you, no compromise. These are blessings placed, and may you decide. So real to you, it's still we realize. Oh, take me far from where I come. Take me home to where I'm from, because I will never be alone. Take me home to where I'm from. Take me home away from Babylon. Take me back to where I'm from. Take me back away from Babylon. So just kind of a weird song, but from the movie Babylon AD with yeah, right, Triple X, whatever that guy, Vin Diesel. Yeah, Vin Diesel. Weird movie, science fiction, bizarre, but sometimes there's truth, hidden away in things, and just neat lines there. Your path is right. I'll walk with you, no compromise. Hey, I have not compromised much of anything. I mean, I've tried to operate my entire life from the day I became a believer on Scripture principles, biblical principles, not just a mentally narrow-minded, interpretation of Scripture, but principles. There's principles, and that's where we need to, a lot of times be focused, because that's what it takes to get through our life. So, all righty. So, where do I want to go from there? Been a long road. Long and winding road sometimes. But it's been exciting. It's been fun. That's one thing I want to say, is it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's been hard. Hell yeah, it's been hard. But I'm like, in the Scriptures, Messiah talks about the man that puts his hand to the plow, and he keeps going, and he keeps going, and he keeps going. He doesn't turn back. He doesn't turn around. He doesn't take his hands off the plow and stop and make a mess out of things. He keeps plowing. Charles Haddon Spurgeon, my favorite preacher of all times, great British preacher, late 1800s. He wrote a book called John Plowman's Talks, and it was kind of based off of the idea of William Tyndale, who took the concept of the plowboy, and he said, I just want to be God's plowboy. I just, he began to translate the Scriptures, and he stuck to it, and he said, I just want to be God's plowboy. I want to keep doing what God has given me to do, no matter what, and he did. So Spurgeon wrote a book called John Plowman's Talks, just like simple talks of simple man who just sticks to the work that he's been given to do. So I am a very simple person, and yet I'm a very complicated person, but simple in the sense that, I'm a technotard. I don't have a lot of capability, but I have been given gifts of research, understanding, seeing a big picture, and to my knowledge, there's nobody else that has the grasp of what's going down and what has been happening here in the Ozark Plateau and across the continent of the United States. There's various people that have different parts of that. Dutch synths, fracking on the dotted Creighton line. I wrote an article by that title. Yeah, there's a lot of people that see things. John Moore, military intelligence guy, phenomenal, wonderful man. Nothing but good to say about him. I meet him at expos. I talk to him. Be nice if I could get on his show once in a while, but I haven't been blessed to do anything like that yet. So there are people that have different facets of this whole thing, but I don't know. I saw that there was something that needed to be done, and I said, I'll do it. So I started doing it, and just because so-and-so turned their back on me, and so-and-so stabbed me in the back, and so-and-so tried to kill me, and so-and-so tried to, wipe me off the face of the earth, is irrelevant. I'm going to keep doing what I believe the Father has given me to do. So, I've taken a lot of heart and encouragement from fictional stories, because the way, with what I have seen coming down the pike and what I have felt that I know is going to happen, there is nothing in writing, virtually nothing in history, some in scripture that would give me any hope and any encouragement for what I see is going to happen. So, in other words, I take a lot of encouragement from, stories, because they depict so often exactly what I, feel, gut feeling, and your gut and in my heart, your gut is another brain. When they say, I feel it in my gut, that's because your gut is literally, your intestines are literally another brain. You can think with your guts. So if you are a person who has gut feelings, good. Pay attention to them. People should listen to you. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a quote by Robert Heinlein. I won't even try to find it now, but the importance of people that see the future and are capable of thinking. Basically, says people that can think accurately, correctly, unbiased, in an unbiased manner. Basically, they're the only people that make a difference in history, and we're coming down to those days. We're going to see that the thinking and the foresight of many people are going to affect the lives of many, many thousands more. In fact, many, many millions more. So, yeah, I was gonna, and I was gonna read some of this because talk about fiction. Well, the Chronicles of Narnia are phenomenal, just treatises of beautiful rendition, description of biblical principles and biblical beliefs. whatever you think about all the, and Tolkien too, same thing. If you don't like them, I don't know. Hit pause, fast forward, whatever. Ignore me. So I'm going to talk about it. The scenario I'm going to read here is there are two children. Eustace, also known as Scrub, and Jill are given the job of finding a king that has disappeared. And they have to recruit the good help of anybody. They end up with a very tall, lanky marsh wiggle named Puddleglum, who's quite a depressing soul. So, but the one thing he says, we got to start by finding a ruined city of the giants, said Jill. Aslan said so. Aslan is the great lion, son of the emperor from across the sea. Yeah, I went over that one again, too. Hell the heck with it. All right. So, got to start by finding it, have we? Answered Puddleglum. Not allowed to start by looking for it, I suppose. Well, that's what I meant, of course, said Jill. So, anyway, they're on this... if we break that, the bright side of it is if we break our necks getting down the cliffs, we're safe from being drowned in the river. I mean, this guy always had something, depressing to say. So, but they end up in the underworld, and there's a witch who has control of the king, but they don't know that. And so they start talking about Aslan. She goes, well, what is Aslan? Oh, have you ever seen a cat? Yes, I love cats. Well, a lion is only a little bit, mind you, like a huge cat with a mane. At least it's not like a horse's mane, it's more like a judge's wig, and it's yellow and terrifically strong. The witch shook her head. I see, she said, that we should do no better with your lion, as you call it, than we did with your son. Well, 'tis a pretty make-believe, though to say truth, it would suit you all better if you were younger. And look how you can put nothing into your make-believe without copying it from the real world, this world of mine, which is the only world. But even you children are too old for such play. And as for you, my lord prince, that art a man full grown, fie upon you. Are you not ashamed of such toys? Come, all of you. Put away these childish tricks. I have work for you all in the real world. There is no Narnia, no overworld, no sky, no sun, no Aslan. And now to bed all, and let us begin a wiser life tomorrow. But first to bed, to sleep. Deep sleep, soft pillows, sleep without foolish dreams. Now, Puddleglum went over to the fire. She had burned some drug incense stuff. And he stomped his foot in the fire and burned his foot, and the pain brought him to his senses and it kept him from passing out under the spell. One word, ma'am, he said, coming back from the fire limping because of the pain. One word. All you've been saying is quite right. I shouldn't wonder. I'm a chap who always likes to know the worst and then put the best face on it I can. So I won't deny any of what you said. But there's one thing more to be said, even so. Suppose we have only dreamed or made up all those things. Trees and grass and sun and moon and stars and Aslan himself. Suppose we have. Then all I can say is that, in that case, the made-up things seem a good deal more important than the real ones. Suppose this black pit of a kingdom of yours is the only world. Well, it strikes me as a pretty poor one. And that's a funny thing when you come to think of it. We're just babies making up a game, if you're right. But 4 babies playing a game can make a play world which licks your real world hollow. That's why I'm going to stand by the play world. I'm on Aslan's side, even if there isn't any Aslan to lead it. I'm going to live as like a Narnian as I can, even if there isn't any Narnia. So thanking you kindly for our supper, if these 2 gentlemen and the young lady are ready, we're leaving your court at once and setting out in the dark to spend our lives looking for Overland, for Narnia. Not that our lives will be very long, I should think, but that's a small loss if the world is a as dull a place as you say. So, that is a good description of the situation as I see it. We are living in a plastic world. We're living in a phony world. We are living in a world that is black and dull and dark, and we can make up a play world that's a whole lot more interesting and a whole lot brighter and a whole lot more fun and a whole lot more exciting and a whole lot more adventurous and a lot more healthy. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to get across. And we are transitioning from the age of Pentecost into the age of tabernacles. And this tabernacles, this Day of Atonement coming up, the Day of Trumpets coming up, and the Day of Atonement and tabernacles may well be the most telling in all of human history. And I'm not predicting anything, certainly not talking about, there's going to be a rapture, but, between the eclipse and this great sign in the heavens of Revelation 12, which is going to be played out, I don't care who or what scholar or Bible scholar who's probably on government payroll says, it is happening. It is going to happen. So, in detail, in extreme detail, do your own research. Bring your own research to the party. So what I'm going to say out there to everybody out there, you are living in the underworld. All of us are in captivity. We are in Babylon. Zedekiah was taken to Babylon, and Jeremiah told him that he would die in peace. He would see the king of Babylon with his eyes. He would look into the eyes of the king of Babylon with his own eyes. Now, as things turn out, he tried to make alliance with Pharaoh, and in direct contradiction to what he was commanded to do. He was told to go to Babylon. You're going to serve 70 years. You did not observe Sabbath for, this period of time, and you owe me 70 Sabbaths. So that's it. Well, 490 years of every 7 years, the Shemitahs. So the king of Babylon puts all of his sons to death before his eyes, and then his eyes are blinded. He kind of sort of died in Babylon at peace anyway. But Jeremiah 29:29, I believe it is, build houses, take wives for your sons, and sons to your daughters, grow a garden. 3 things. Do those 3 things. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're in captivity. He can take the wooden yoke off and put on an iron yoke if you want. And that's what a lot of the patriot types are doing. They want to rebel. They want to fight. They want to, have a shoot 'em up at the OK Corral. And it's not going to turn out well for most all of them. Perhaps all of them. So anyway, that's my view on things. So what I want to say is that people want to think of themselves as believers. What is the root word of believe? Believers. Believe. How much faith do you have? When Yahweh told Abraham to leave Ur of the Chaldees, he didn't say, well, let's see, I got to get my 401k and I got to get my retirement, I got to, cash in my CD, and I got to get my got to sell my house, and I've got to get a job lined up, and I got to have a place to go. I got to have a soft landing place. I don't want to just move. I got to have somebody help me. I got to have somebody come get me. No. Abraham was a man of faith. God said move. He moved. Poof. Pretty simple. Just do it. So what I'm saying is have faith. He says climb up that tree, you climb up the tree. When he says go out on a limb, you go out on a limb. When he says cut the branch, you cut the branch. And if he happened to say cut the branch between you and the tree, you cut the branch between you and the tree, and you you take what comes. So I've done that for years now, and it's been exciting. That's one thing I wanted to say is, man, I'll tell you what, you want to have a fun life, just do what you're told to do. Just really simple. Trust and obey. Just do it. Just, I know people who have had dreams and visions and a tsunami and climbing up the mountain at breakneck speed trying to get above the waves coming in, and why don't you move? Well, my husband needs to have a job out there, and that was one. Another lady calls me up. This is one of the synchronicities. Okay, we went to prophecy clubs. Okay, and let me find something here that can just kind of symbolize what I'm talking about. Okay, so Pilgrim's Products, which I'm going to set back up here. Pilgrim's Products. I'm sitting there by the phone, 1999, and I have a newsletter on my lap, Prophecy Club newsletter, okay? And phone rings, and a lady answers the phone, says, "Hey, Jerry, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, Karen, how are you doing?" "Hey, do you think Portland's going to get nuked, Jerry?" I said, "Hold on. I've got the map right here." And I opened it up. In the middle of the map, middle of the newsletter, the whole thing was the entire continental United States. And it had where Dumitru Duderman, a prophet from Romania, said the cities that he saw were nuked. And I said, yep, it's going to get nuked. "Why do you ask?" "Well, we live in Portland, and every night, I have this nightmare, and I wake up in a cold sweat. I'm standing at our picture window, and I'm holding my baby in my arms, and a nuclear bomb goes off, and I wake up as the glass shatters, and my baby dies, but I live because the baby's in front of my chest." And I said, "Well, pretty simple, just move." "Well, we can't. My husband has a good job," and and I'm like, okay. So I kid you not, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people across this country having bizarre dreams and not doing anything about it. I don't understand that. I had a picture in my mind, just a still picture. I've told you before about picture like a cheap picture you'd go into a furniture store and put over your couch. Bunch of tents. No smoke, no movement, no cats, no dogs, no people, no nothing. Just some tents in a field. And I knew that those people were refugees, and if I didn't do something to help them, they would die. That was in 1980. I've been working toward that ever since to help those people. I believe I'll see that scene someday. And then 2000, I had a vision. I was wide awake. My eyes were open. I was sitting up, and I see a couple, man and woman, each holding the hand of a child, boy and a girl, coming toward me, and they curl around to an underground house, which had been built ahead of time for them, for whoever got there first. So that tore me up. I've said it before, but I'm just recounting a couple things here. That really got me going, and that was 17 years ago, almost 18 years ago now. And so I have been working toward building that house. Aircrete, I believe, is how that